Pride, everybody. To all my friends, brothers, sisters around the world, not only the LGBTQIA community, but all of us have a reason to be proud about something. So for me, Pride is something we can all celebrate. And today I'm kicking off with number 5 of my 5 proudest moments, most memorable moments. And this one, this is a great story, and it involves my parents. It was the Australian summer of 2009, and I was in Sydney, Australia, as I often was around that time of year, for Mardi Gras, for work, seeing and catching up with friends. And by pure coincidence, my parents had booked a trip, an Australian tour with an American tour group, and they were going to be arriving in Sydney the day of the Sydney Mardi Gras parade. Now that year I had a track out with a production duo called the Freemasons, much loved producers who at that point were headlining Mardi Gras. And so they had actually organized a float for the Freemasons with 150 boys in wearing hot pants covered in glitter and doing choreographed moves to the Freemasons' greatest hits, and led by 2 drag queens carrying British flags because the Freemasons are British. I got invited to be on this float because I had a track out with them at the time called Love is the Answer. And getting to be part of the Mardi Gras parade in that kind of way, you know, to actually be in it and see it from the inside is an experience. When it comes along, if you get that kind of opportunity, you know, you don't say no. However, I had told my parents I'd be picking them up and that we would be spending the day. I would take them down to the parade so they could see a little bit of it from a safe distance, and then but that we would be spending the day together. So when I refused the offer, they said, well, just bring your parents, you know, that's fine. I thought, I don't know. My dad's a pastor, a minister, and my parents had been incredibly loving and supportive over the years, but they'd never seen anything quite like what I knew they would be exposed to at the parade, and I just wasn't sure that they were ready for all that. So I eventually called my dad and said, look, you know, I don't want to make this decision for you. Here's the deal. We have this opportunity. It's 3 hours. You can't get off the float. If I'm honest, I don't think that we should do it because I'm scared that you might be traumatized for life. It's the dykes on bikes. I mean, everything else is fine. I think it's just the dykes on bikes that would have been really traumatizing. No, I'm kidding, to my lovely dykes on bikes friends. I said, look, but I don't want to make this decision for you. At the end of the day, you know, this is the situation, and why don't you pray about it, think about it. And anyway, a few days later, he called me and said, you know what? Life is short. We're on the other side of the world. We're never going to have a chance to do this again. This is something that's important to you. Let's do it. I was like, oh my God. Anyway, sure enough, my parents arrived on Mardi Gras parade day. I picked them up, and we eventually made our way onto the float. And the thing is, it was one of the most incredible memories I will cherish for the rest of my life. And all of us who were on that float feel the same, and especially because my parents were on it. For them to have made the decision, to willingly have decided that they would take that leap and be part of that, even when I myself was saying I wasn't sure that I was just scared that they might be uncomfortable. But you know, they have repeatedly defied expectations for what you would think parents who have been raised in the same religious way that they have, so strict and with such, you know, very unflinching and inflexible sort of ideas around sort of issues like homosexuality. My parents have just shown again and again what it means to be, well, first of all, a Christian, second of all, a parent, or maybe first of all a parent, second of all a Christian. They are incredible. And at one point, I was with my friend Catherine Ellis. She was also working with the Freemasons, and she was on the float. singing, and I was singing "Love Is the Answer," and she was singing her track. We were in tears, and my mother looked at me, tears streaming down her face, and she said, "Oh, honey, I never want to get off this float. It's like the best church service I've ever been to. There's so much love, you know," and that's exactly what it felt like. All those people, the joy, not just people from the LGBT community, but people from around the world in all walks of life and religions and colors and creeds, and there to just celebrate diversity, to celebrate life and love, acceptance, compassion, music, dancing, connection, friendship. It was everything. And like to get to have that moment with my parents, and for them to have been willing to take that leap, I could not have been prouder on that day. But it wasn't to do with myself. It was a pride that I felt for my parents and for their willingness to take the leap, to go on that journey, which they did many years before that, when I came out to them. So many parents struggle with this issue, and as a result, there are a lot of kids that are kicked out of their homes. It's so sad. But if you're a parent and you're listening to this, honestly, take a leaf out of my parents' book, because we've had the most extraordinary relationship. It would have been so sad to have missed out on the amazing relationship that we've had, because they were able, even when it was difficult to reconcile, and it was that, you know, it wasn't easy. This was a process for me, for them. Things don't just overnight all, you know, fall into place sometimes with relationships. There has to be some patience and compassion on both sides. But I think if you asked either of my parents, are they happy that they made the decision that they did to let love be their compass when they weren't entirely sure what to say or do, because that's a very difficult thing for parents as well as kids coming out. And they would tell you that they would not have regretted a single second of the relationship that they've had with me, and the beautiful colors and experiences that we've been able to have, like the Sydney Mardi Gras Parade, together, because we are still a family that's intact and that supports each other and loves each other. So anyway, that's number 5, definitely one of my proudest moments, and there'll be another 4 coming this week, one every day until the end of the month. Anyway, lots of love to all of you, and yeah, what have you done today to be proud? And if nothing, well, get your shit together.
Tell 'em love is the answer.